Hi, everybody. Reconvening to open session of the regular meeting of Fairview District 72 Board of Education is September 24th, 2025 at 7:03 p.m. We have established that we already have a quorum. I'd like to ask that all members of the public be respectful of everyone at this meeting. Please ensure that you have silenced your cell phones, and please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. May I have a motion and a second to move into public hearing? So moved.
I'll second.
Would the board secretary please call the roll call vote?
Esther Tamuda.
Yes.
Hobart Whitworth.
Present.
Raphael Kabor.
Here.
Diana Diakakis.
Yes.
Christine Soika, yes.
All right, Mr. Fair, can you please come to the podium? It's 7:05 and we're officially in the public hearing.
Thank you. So it is that time to present the final budget for the year. We presented the tentative budget last month, and what we do in our process is we try to eliminate any unnecessary changes between the tentative and the final, but we do try and true up the numbers as best we can with a month's worth of data. Additional data, we're able to get a little bit closer to what we think it's going to be for the year. This doesn't look too dissimilar from last month, unfortunately. We're looking at about a 5.4% increase in revenues over the actual revenues we received last year, and only a 1.7% increase in expenditures. But we're still looking at about a $1 million operating deficit, which is about 5.9% of our budget. So how does that happen? Well, our revenues are limited again by PTEL. We're only able to access about 3% more than the previous year. Last year, we got hit hard with objections. So we had about $800,000 in tax objections or tax refunds that were given out. That takes $800,000 out of our projected revenue. So we're hoping that that does not happen again this year. State funding, like evidence-based funding, and our federal funding remains flat. So every year, that funding remains flat, even as costs go up and inflation goes up. So that really hinders our ability to raise revenues. Expenditures, 60% of our expenditures are set by personnel, so salaries and benefits. The personnel plan, personnel contracts that we have in place, so there's very little flexibility there. Our insurance rate and our enrollment increases. So our rates went up about 4 to 5%, and we saw about a 5.5% increase total in insurance costs for the year because we saw an increase in enrollment insurance as well. We had the reading curriculum adoption, which is about $150,000. Thankfully, those big adoptions like reading and math only come about once every few years. So this is hopefully not going to be a repeat. We're not going to as big a number next year with whatever curriculum we develop or whatever curriculum we adopt. We're seeing heavy increases in utilities, especially electric service over the course of next year. So that's a huge supply expense. Of that $1 million deficit, $443,000 of that is pledged to pay off debt. Part of that, about $80,000, is for the NTDSE building, which we pledged to pay as part of our agreement with NTDSE about 5 years ago. And then the other part of that is for $380,000 for the building project that were specific building bonds. We're still looking at a potential amended budget by the end of this fiscal year to account for any unforeseen construction costs as we still try and finalize those. You'll see there the operating fund summary over the course of the last 5 years. And again, that large dip in 23 to 24 was largely due to us transferring money to pay for the part of the building projects. The board has set 75% as our fund balance percentage. Right now, we're looking at about 45% at the end of this year. It's important to know that ISB recommends 15 to 20%. So the board's policy of 75% is well above that. So that may be a discussion down the road with whether or not we want to change the board policy or else we want to try and get back up to that 75%. The next step going forward, we'll submit this final budget, if approved tonight, to ISB per ISB guidelines, and we'll file the budget with the county clerk. We'll do the tentative levy in October because we need 30 days between board meetings. So we'll do the tentative levy in October and do the final in December. Liz Hennessy from Raymond James will be at our board meeting to talk about financing options. going forward, whether there's ways, alternative ways to raise revenue for the district. In November, we'll look at the annual financial report and audit provided by Evoy, Cam Schulte, and Jacobs, and they're required to do that on a yearly basis. From that, we'll have the hard final numbers for FY25 and be able to finalize our projections for 5 years going out. And then December, we'll submit the final levy, as approved by the board. In January, we'll start the 27 budget preparations. And then we'll look at the amended budget and fund transfer options in the spring of 26. And that's it. The entire budget document in the board packet is the one that we'll submit to ISB. There's the budget summary, which is the 30-page document I put together. That's just for board, that's for the community and for the board. The ISB document is the one that's submitted to the state.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
In future conversation about the 75%, potentially changing that, when we do the audit in November, that 5-year projection will kind of give us a rough estimate on like if we can reach that 75 again?
Yeah, and traditionally when we do those projections, whether it's by myself or it's by, I know Liz Hennessy has done this before, those are very conservative. So in order to approach that 75%, there would have to be major changes to what the outlook is. We've always taken the stance that we want to budget conservatively, project conservatively, and then be pleasantly surprised at the end. And that's traditionally worked out for us. We always knew that by pledging so much of our fund balance to the construction project, there was going to be difficult conversations going forward. We knew that we were trying to do our best for the community to not go out and have a referendum or issue debt and go through those means. But I mean, the way revenues are kind of flat in a number of areas for us and expenditures continue to rise as the needs of our students arise, it's tough discussions that we knew were going to happen.
Later this evening, you will have an opportunity to vote on the budget. And this is the one time a year, I think, that every board member needs to sign off on a document. So when our meeting's over, please don't leave too quickly, because every year it seems like sometimes someone gets away from us and then we're trying to catch up with you. So that will be something we ask you to sign off on a little bit later tonight. Any other questions? Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
All right. May I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing?
I'll second.
Would the board secretary please call the roll call vote?
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Hobart Whitworth?
Yes.
Esther Tomuda?
Yes.
Christine Soika, yes.
All right. Public hearing is closed. We are reconvening to the regular meeting. It is 7:12. All right. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of August 20th, 2025?
So moved.
Okay, any corrections, comments?
That was you? Sorry.
That was me.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, all those in favor of approving the minutes of August 20th, 2025, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, say nay. Okay. Minutes are approved. Next, we have the approval of bills of payments. May I have a motion and a second to approve the payments of bills in the amount of $314,908.25.
So moved.
A second.
Anybody have questions? All right, Board Secretary, can you please call the roll call vote?
Yes. Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Hobart Whitworth?
Yes.
Esther Tomuda?
Yes.
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Christine Soika, yes.
All right, bills are approved. And the next item is Parent Teacher Association report. If we have a representative from the PTA. Thank you, Sylvia.
Good evening. The PTA committees have started working on all of our fun events we've planned for the year. Our first event is the 5K fun run and walk with a half-a-mile dash for our littles. It's for this Saturday at 10 a.m. 9:15 is registration. We would love to see you guys all there. We have a stress-free fundraising tonight at Village Inn. Village Inn does wonders for us. They donate a lot to us, so they are doing a stress-free fundraiser today. If you guys call in, if you guys do a pickup or an order, if you guys want to sit there, just tell them that you're at the PTA. Honestly, this time around, I think we want to give back to them because they do so much for us. Our first committee meeting is going to be October the 7th at 7 p.m. in the Nest, and our fall fun classroom parties for primary is October the 9th. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Anyone from the board or administration have any good news to share for the district?
Start us off. The beginning of the year is very busy, which everyone knows, especially those that have children here in Fairview. One of the things I wanted to highlight is over the summer, often we get communication from one of our teachers, Miss Tony, who's part of our spin out program. She also does our publishing club, and she submits a lot of student work to publications and contests all across the state. And over the summer, we had many finalists and a couple winners in the Gwendolyn Brooks Youth Poetry Awards. And so I thought that was something I wanted to shout out to Miss Tony. She does such a great job. If anyone's interested in seeing the works, we can provide you the link to that. And so you have a chance to read the students' work, which is really incredible. We're off and running for our sports athletics. I know our volleyball team's off to a great start. Actually, all of our teams are, but I believe they haven't lost yet. So the girls varsity volleyball team is picking up where they left off last year as JV girls. So we'll keep you updated. I think the finals are right around the next time of our board meeting usually. So we'll keep you updated on how they're doing. So.
Yes, they have not lost one game.
Confirmation. At the primary level, well, actually, this covers our K-8. I just want to give a shout out to our new family committee. Last week on Thursday, we had a family pizza night for our new families that included all of our new families to the district, 1st through 8th grade, as well as our kindergartners. And we had 100 littles and bigs and parents and grandparents, and it was a lot of fun. They also did a virtual or a digital scavenger hunt throughout the building and took some really cute family photos with like the cardinal head, and they went to the nest. It was really cute. A lot of fun. So that was really great way to start the year. At the primary and middle school, we're going to be starting clubs coming up, and I just want to reiterate our partnership with the Skokie Park District, which is awesome. So it allows us to provide more options for primary. As we know, our middle school students have so many opportunities to be involved in like sports, and there's just more clubs and options for them. So this is a great way for our primary students to be able to have some of those options as well. And then our Fairview staff will also be offering clubs again here in the fall. So this is new to start the Skokie Park District clubs off this fall, but we've had a really great turnout, and so we wanted to be able to do that. Third, field trips are starting. As we know, the school year has started, so 3rd grade is heading to the Skokie Heritage Museum. Actually, a class tomorrow, Friday, and then another next Tuesday. So this starts to kick off for them, like learning about Skokie. That's a big part of 3rd grade. So that is going to be very fun for them. And then just thinking of like the importance of, books and reading and literacy with all of our reading adoption conversations, I just thought we haven't really talked. We always have mystery readers, and I saw Miss Soika today. She was a mystery reader for one of her boys. And it's just such a great way for parents to be able to get in the building. And it's really great that Miss Bastian does that. So that is something that goes all year with our primary students. So just want to give a shout out for that. Thanks. Any questions?
Preschool is going very, very well. I'm happy to report. And holy moly, what a difference a year makes. They are doing such a good job, and it's amazing to see the returning students. I know I shared this last time, but the returning students who know the routines and know what to expect are really bringing the new friends along with them, which has been great. We have 50 students right now attending our preschool program, with 3 to 4 starting most likely in the next few weeks, which is really, really exciting. Lastly, I'm happy to share that our partnership with Lincolnshire Animal Hospital Dog Therapy group will continue this school year, and we're looking at looping in our preschool students as well, so they'll have opportunities to meet the dogs and have their special time with them. So yeah, that's it.
Sat on the edge so I didn't trip this time. MAP testing finished up about 2 weeks ago. It went very smoothly, which is amazing given MAP's track record, but I believe there's only one morning where it was slow, right? And they ended up fixing their problems themselves. So that was fantastic. And then just last week, we were gifted 2 brand new 3D printers by the high school to Mr. Lays and Mrs. Che. Mr. Lays was having some tough times with his 3D printers. He spent countless hours trying to fix them. Chris Powell at the high school got wind of that and delivered 2 brand new state-of-the-art 3D printers for us, which was fantastic. The high school has always been very supportive of our STEM program, so very grateful to them. Thanks.
I thought it was kind of cool. Barry didn't mention it, but they took our old ones off our hands and they were going to have their students work on trying to fix those printers, which I think that's such a great experience for the
Yeah.
kids to try to troubleshoot it.
Yeah, it's
So
awesome.
it's sort of a win-win. I think we got the better end of it.
We
but-
did get the better end of it.
I just want to say something real quick. Meet with Cindy before our meetings and I came on a lucky day. The Falcon Snack Shack was open and so I walked in there. I had no idea what I was walking into, but it was the cutest, heartwarming experience and I bought some mints. And just went through the process with the kids. I was a little confused at first. I needed some guidance because I didn't want to make them feel nervous, but like I bought mints and gave them money and off I went. It was really sweet and really nice for them to have that sense of like ownership in a little store. So super cute. So thank you for doing
So-
that for them.
The Snack Shack was an idea that a couple of our special education teachers, along with some NTDSE teachers, came up with to give their students sort of a real world experience of actually serving customers and making change and whatnot. And so we have it set up in one of our small conference rooms, and they kind of set up their whole shop, and they created Falcon Dollars, which, gosh, we could go far with Falcon Dollars if only we could give some to Jeff for our budget and everything would be great. Just keep printing them. Did I say that? But just the children feel so empowered and just to be able to talk to adults and have this experience, we're really excited about it. So we'll see what it turns into. Right now it's on Fridays for staff members, but we'll see how it kind of morphs over time. Already they've upgraded their storefront a little bit with a new sign, and so it's pretty exciting. But I was glad that she was here that day and got a chance to experience it firsthand. So
I needed a warning. I almost cried. I'm like, oh, it was sweet.
it was sweet.
Very sweet. Okay. Next item is our board discussion items. With the superintendent, please introduce the reports to the board.
Yes, I am very excited to welcome so many of our teachers here this evening. We're moving right along. They've had a long day already, so we don't want to keep them here too long. But I think it's really important for the board and the public to hear about the types of work that our teachers do through the summer months. For Fairview teachers, they do have the summer off, but many of them don't take a whole lot of time to themselves to put their feet up or not think about school for too long. So this summer, we had a large number of faculty staff like we usually do. 70 members of our staff participated in some sort of curriculum project. We don't have time to highlight all of those projects tonight, but we selected a few. So I'm not sure if the principals, are you going to kind of start us off here, or do you want me to just introduce the first? Okay. No? You're good? Okay, well,
They're
if
ready.
somebody could put up the first slide, that would be great. Tonight, we have 4 presentations for the board. The first one is regarding 5th grade executive functioning and a WIN boot camp, which Mr. Masterson is going to talk us through.
Yes.
So welcome, Sean.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to share our work on the Executive Functioning Boot Camp. I would like to thank the 5th grade team, including Rachel Ronan, Worth Gowell, Tricia Klein, Emily McBain, and Tamara Peterson, and Julie Prohl. So my background is in special education. For the past decade, I focused on developing executive functioning interventions for my students. Over time, this work naturally led me into supporting students during the critical transition from elementary to middle school. Teachers began reaching out, asking me to work with students they have concerned about during that transition. And last year at Fairview, I expanded that work by teaching executive functioning skills directly to some of our middle school students. This year, I propose that nearly all our 5th graders go through a dedicated curriculum. As a team, we decided to launch the Executive Functioning Boot Camp at the start of the year, giving every 5th grader a strong foundation to build on. Over the first 3 weeks, our students have participated in a focused and engaging executive functioning program designed to build essential skills for success in middle school and beyond. Spanning approximately 12 lessons, this program was carefully structured to ease transition into middle school while equipping students with tools for academic organization, time management, and self-advocacy. We kicked off the program during the week of August 25th with day 1, Welcome to Middle School. Students got familiar with their schedules, practiced using their lockers, and had an open forum to share questions or concerns. From the very beginning, we wanted to set a tone for independence and responsibility. We focused on foundational skills, organizing binders, using planners effectively, and brainstorming what it means to be a successful learner. Students set personal goals, reviewed learner qualities from their report cards, even created their own vision boards to visualize the kind of learners they aspire to be. The next two slides are some sample activities. In week 2, we shifted into digital organization and communication. Students learned how to manage their bookmarks, navigate Google Classroom, and use a shared homework calendar. We covered self-advocacy and email etiquette, essential tools for middle schoolers learning to speak up and take ownership for their own learning. The final week, we focused on study skills and test preparation. Students practiced strategies of preparing for assessments and learned how to balance their workload. We also spent time discussing digital citizenship and how to find a healthy balance with media and how to behave responsibly online. We wrapped up with a full program recap, and we are putting together a special takeaway next week, a laminated executive functioning cheat sheet, as you see up here, something every 5th grader can keep in their binder for quick reference throughout the school year. This program really has been more than just about lessons. It's a launch pad for our students to build habits, to foster academic confidence, independence, and a strong sense of self-direction. Thank you all for supporting this work, and we look forward to seeing these skills in action as the year unfolds.
Any questions from the board? For those of you who've had a 4th grader move to 5th grade, it is definitely a change. And our staff, identified that this was a struggle for a lot of our students. And going from having one classroom teacher who makes sure you have everything you need before you leave at the end of the day, and all of that sort of hand-holding that goes on in the primary grades. In 5th grade, there's still a lot of hand-holding, but we're trying to do less of that and have them become more independent with being organized and keeping track of their things. And just the small things like email etiquette. When you're emailing the principal, you don't say, hey, and they need direct instruction on these types of things because otherwise they do whatever kids do, and that's not always the proper etiquette. So I think, this has been a really big step in the right direction to help ease that transition between 4th and 5th grade here. So I'm very appreciative of your work, being a mom of 2 boys who are terribly disorganized their whole lives. I wish my kids would have had something like that, but I think it's going to really help support all of our kids in a really good way. So
My son is within this program right now and loves it. So thank you both for helping him. Yeah, he's mentioned that like, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. What's there's so many things. I think it's helpful to have someone help him. Just all the kids put it
So many
put
feel
it
like
down.
that too.
So
Yeah.
So thank you. It's been helpful significantly.
Okay, next up, we have Tamara Peterson and Worth Gowell. Many of you are very familiar with our traditional 4th grade Celebrate America project. It's sort of a long tradition here at Fairview. Tamara and Worth came to us with a new idea for a special 5th grade project called Celebrate Native America. So they're going to talk to us a bit about this project and how it ties into the curriculum at their grade level.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
This all started, I guess it started with my initial seed program where they began each session with a land acknowledgement. And you also, if you go to plays, you'll see a land acknowledgement in a lot of the theaters. And so we decided, hot on the heels, or at least on the heels of Celebrate America, that we would try and introduce the students to what America was like pre-Columbian, pre-1492. So what we did was we put together this Celebrate Native America, and let's see if I can. And these slide presentations kind of go into what Mrs. Peterson and I kind of went into with our work. Our goal was that the students would recognize that the land was not always European, was not always America. And one of the things we want to do, kind of coupled with our social studies curriculum for lesson 1, is to talk about these Native American cultures, over 500, who are part of this country long before Columbus discovered this rock. So what we're going to do is kind of go through what the expectations are for the students, and I'm going to turn this over to Tamara, who's going to talk a little bit about the slide presentation she put together.
So we already knew that the kids knew how to do a bigger project thanks to Celebrate America. We promised the parents, you're not going to be doing any kind of dioramas with them. We wanted them to have a slide presentation, and we wanted them to start learning how to do some public speaking as well. So what they're going to do is they're going to learn about their tribes as much as possible, and then they're going to present it to the rest of the class, because that's important to have those skills. So some of the things that we want to cover with them is the type of art that was used by each of the groups, where their location was, and what kind of region they were from. And then shelters, all the homes look different depending on where in the nation that they were living and what kind of lifestyle they lived in. So we wanted them to know that. And then food resources, the food changes depending on whether or not they're in the Midwest, if they're in the Eastern Woodlands, or they're in California. So knowing what they were looking for each of those was important. And one of the most important we thought was the ways of life, their ceremonies and what they thought was important, what kind of jobs and things that were given to each of the different groups was also important, and how they lived together. And then interesting facts, a lot of everyday items that we use today were actually made by Native Americans or came up with by Native Americans. So we want the kids to find that stuff out. And Worth and I have gone through great lengths to find all kinds of different articles and stuff for them to find. We're also partnering with Miss Bastian so we can get stuff from the library. She's going to teach them how to do navigating through the websites and stuff, because that can always be a challenge as well. And then making sure they know how to cite their resources, so they know where the information is coming from and what those sources are and if they are actually valid. So, we're really looking forward. We kicked it off this week, and the kids are really looking forward to it as well. So that's it.
Yeah, it was amazing. The kids had flashbacks of all the states that they did last year, and they remembered the birds and the flowers and the trees and the bees. And they're all very excited about learning about this part of America that often doesn't get recognized. So thank you for your time.
Great job. Any questions from the board?
Yes, it's going to be an individual project. So they'll go back to their state, Nebraska or whatever, and they're going to, and we'll have an overlay map of their state, and then it'll also indicate the different nations that were part of their state, so that they are able to pick one and kind of focus on that, on the resources and their dwellings and so forth.
Bringing alive the social studies curriculum in a really different way. I really think the students are going to be very engaged. It'll be interesting this first year to kind of see how it's received. I know you do a great job of kind of letting things evolve, and so we'll look forward to hearing an update once the projects are finished. Maybe they'd like to public speak a project here for the board once they're finished. Okay, okay.
I don't know if they would, but
I'm sure we can
Extra
find-
credit.
we can find one or two.
Okay, well, thank you very much for all of your hard work. Appreciate it. Next up, we had a team of teachers, and Dasha McKinney is going to be presenting for this group, as well as Allison Meyer. Attendance has continued to be a struggle for us, like it has many schools across our country post-COVID. We believe it's really, really important for students to be in school for the full day, every day of the school year, because when they're here, they're learning, and that helps improve their academic achievement. So we have been working really hard trying to get creative at how to get attendance back to where it was pre-COVID. Fairview always had wonderful attendance patterns, but we have seen it trail off since COVID. So these ladies are going to walk you through the work of this team over the course of this last summer. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you. We worked as a team to take a look at our attendance policies and how we can support the connection between home and school, and how we can make life a little easier for parents at home. So one of our first initiatives is having an online attendance form. You may click an online attendance link that's been sent in the digital backpack. You can send in up until however many days you know that you're going to be out of town, or if you already have a planned absence, you can send that in as early as you know. And so that parents aren't having to necessarily pick up the phone and call the morning of when your child's sick, you're trying to make a doctor's appointment. Instead of having that extra phone call, now you can just click a link pull it up on your phone and fill out why your child will not be at school for that day. You also will start receiving monthly letters sent home, so families are aware of absences before it gets too late into the school year. So you've already received one of those for the month of August and September. Next week you'll get this. Sorry. It's been like 4 weeks, so almost there. We're almost at a full month. And you'll start receiving these emails every month so that you're able to know, oh, actually, like 2 days is a little bit more of a percentage of the school year when you look at just a whole 4 weeks.
Just to mention too, excuse my voice, it is the season for germs right now. But just to mention too, on this form, the goal of this form was just really more of the informative part rather than punitive. We don't want it to seem like, oh, your student is immediately in trouble. It's just more of like a, for your information, just a heads up to see how the days add up as a whole, just in case that like sometimes those numbers, when we see them bits and pieces, it actually makes a little bit more sense rather than at the end seeing everything. So a little bit more to keep families together with us on the numbers. We also did set up a tiered system to support students individually then. So tier 1 is just the basic level that every student starts off with. That starts with making sure that there's a communication with the letters, making sure that the expectations are being communicated from the district. So we've updated the handbook as well, sending out that form, and then making sure that the teachers are explaining those expectations through syllabus and then also through curriculum night PowerPoints. If parents are coming with questions, we all kind of have the same language that we're using. When students do end up, like we're seeing particular issues in a couple classes, we do have weekly team meetings where we can raise a student and see like, is everybody else having this issue? Does this need to now get brought up to administration? And then we also did take a look as well as not just beginning of the school day tardiness, but also class to class, especially if kiddos are avoiding a particular class or they're just having a really hard time with transitions. That's a way that we can also keep track of that, just so that way there's open communication around. So tier 1, because it is really just a basic level, we kind of work this through as a team, and should a child reach 10% absences or from class to class, they reach 6 tardies in each individual class, that moves them up to a tier 2 where a little bit more intense work gets started with parent communication, having a parent meeting. We come up with an individual plan for a student, particularly to having a mentor on campus so they can tell us like, which teacher do you feel comfortable, if there's a staff member you feel comfortable with, so that way we can provide check-ins, especially if it's in a particular class where if we're noticing, oh, they're struggling in math, so they're avoiding getting to math on time, maybe there can be a teacher check-in to kind of like communicate with that math teacher, find strategies on how to get them to math as well. We will also then create a check-in, check-out with the help of Sean of just making sure that the kiddo is kind of taking that onus and that responsibility as well of getting into class. And then that gives us some communication with the teachers. And then it does get brought up in our weekly meetings again, just so that way all of the teachers are on board and making sure that the parents have that communication too. That way we're all working together as a team. Tier 3 is if this is a continued problem, this gets just a little bit more in depth, where now administration and our SEL team will kind of take a hold of this and kind of have more family discussions with the families, kind of talk about what is the goals here and come up with a more individualized plan. If needed, we'll bring in the entire team of teachers to just kind of have a discussion and come up with separate goals. And then what ends up happening as well is, if necessary into this, we will also start the North Cook referral process just to get the community support as well, in case there are like any resources that we need to get to the families if something is happening at home and we don't have the resources in order to help that family on campus, try to pile up our resources together. So with it being the start of the school year, we're kind of process right now, a lot of our friends are still in that tier 1. And we're actually starting to see within our team meetings, we've kind of talked about class to class tardies, how has it been going? And On the sixth grade front that I can report for, we've seen a collective less amount of tardies from class to class, just because that language has been the same across the board and students kind of know like, okay, all of the teachers are holding us accountable here. So we are definitely seeing less tardies from class to class at this point in time as well. Thank you.
Questions?
Is there an opportunity, I mean, just depending on how this progresses, to implement SEL in tier 2? Like is tier 3 maybe almost too late to have the SEL team potentially intervene? Being mindful of right resources and capacity, but
Our
just.
SEL teachers attend our weekly GLPST meetings. So when these conversations are being brought up, even at tier 1, the SEL team is present and can give their feedback and input during those team meetings.
So in tier 3, it's just directly with the student? Is that, because I think that was.
It would be like a more intensive intervention at
Okay.
that point.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I think our tier 3 students are those students that are experiencing school refusal. So they're having a hard time even getting to school. And that requires a more intensive intervention to find out what the issue is. It could be a lot of different things, but that's what our social work and our administrative team then digs into, because it's a little bit more than what the classroom teacher or team can help support. Certainly anywhere along the way, if social work might be, or counseling might be what the student needs, we're not waiting until they
Okay.
get to tier 3.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Is the link for the absent reporting on the Parent Square app? It is?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, and it's definitely in the backpack, yeah.
okay. Haven't used it yet, but I think that'd
It's
be
really
nice to
nice.
put there
Mhm.
just in case. Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
The teacher, or at least the first grade teachers also send it in their newsletter and it's in their signature as well.
So it's not taking place of the phone call. If someone wants
No,
to
you
leave a
can still,
message,
yes.
have a conversation.
But it does make the
Okay.
office in the morning a
A
little
little less.
smoother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to, if people ask.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we're going to talk about kindergarten kickoff, which was new to Fairview this year. It's something that we've been thinking about doing for a couple of years, but we've been able to finally implement it. This was very different than the way we've done kindergarten kickoff in previous years. So I'm very proud of our community for trusting us and letting us try this out. But Allison Schlatter and Allison Meyer, our wonderful A team in kindergarten, are going to present this project.
All right. So we had our first week look a little different this school year. We had a transitional week where we had temporary mixed groups of classes, and we had a chance to see all 60 students come through our classroom, which was really incredible. This was designed to support students' social emotional adjustment as well as their comfort in the school setting. It allowed us to have different relationships with all of the students. So now 4 weeks in, I know all of the students in Ms. Schlotter's class. They know who I am. They can ask for help. And it's really a wonderful way for them to be able to build relationships with multiple adults in the building. We had our students be observed during this time by multiple staff members in our building, which was really a wonderful opportunity. We had our reading and math interventionists in there taking notes, our resource teacher, our advanced learning teacher, both EL teachers. We had lots and lots of support. We had Ms. Shavoka with us. It was really all hands on deck, so we could get all eyes on these different mixed groups and see where these students would be best fit. And this also helped our students build confidence throughout their day and allowed us to really support where they would end up so that we have a bit more balanced classes, since this is our first time seeing these students, and it was a really good opportunity.
So this is just an example of, okay, I'll go back. No, I'm not going to go back. Here's an example of our week. So in the past, we have, had students come, half of the class come for half day, the other class comes for half day, they all come for half day. So this time, all of the students came on Monday for appointment day. They got to see all of the different classrooms. They dropped off their materials, and then we all got to go on a tour of the school, of half the school, as quickly as we could. But it was really nice because a lot of the times parents don't get to see the full school. So that was really nice for them as well. Then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all of the kids came from 8:45 until 1 o'clock. So I'll show you a little bit more detailed after, but after 1 o'clock every day, the whole team, so all of the kindergarten teachers, as well as Ms. Shavoka and any of the support staff that was with us taking notes, we all sat together and were able to go over the notes and our observations, and then made small changes to our class lists for the following day, where they then started, and then we did the same routine again. And then Friday, we did a no student attendance day, which is when the entire team again sat together, and then we finalized our groupings, and we notified all of the parents, and then yes, that emailed, all the good information, the welcome information. And then Monday we had no school for Memorial Day. And then Tuesday we started full time with everybody. So this was just kind of an example of our daily schedule. So it was really nice because all three classrooms did the exact same activities in every class. So then it wasn't like, why is this kid having a really hard time in Miss Schlotter's class? It must be because she's doing something really hard in there. But we knew that it wasn't because it was what we were doing, but it was more, who they were vibing with and what other kids they were kind of connecting with. So we all did the same exact thing. Their home base, they started, that was our kind of class list that they started with for the day. So we all went over the routines. They got to have snack and recess. They each got to try out some specials. And then we did a little switcheroo every single day from 11:05 to 12 o'clock. So they would start in their homeroom classroom, do an activity in there for 10, 15 minutes, and then the whole group would then switch to the next class, do another activity in there, and then switch to the next classroom. So all three kindergarten teachers were able to then see all three groups of kids every single day in three different environments, which was really nice because they're how they engaged and how they interacted with the other students was very different based on where they were and who they were with. So again, every day we met and kind of changed the list a little bit, but allowed us to kind of really create a lot more balanced classes. We're able to see that now. We just finished our fast bridge testing, so we were able to really see that even our levels of, our thinkers and all different levels of kids, we were nice and evenly separated, which was really nice. And yeah, we got to know everybody and it wasn't a surprise, which was lovely. And I think it will lend to a really great school year for us and the kids and the parents. And yeah, we're excited to do it again next year. And again, we got really good feedback from the community, I think. It was nice to not just have like, you're coming on Monday and Tuesday and then not Wednesday and Friday. So everybody was coming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday, they had nothing, but yeah, we had a great reception. Oh, there's some pictures. Kindergarten kickoff in action. So it was great. So thank you guys.
Questions?
Sounds exciting. Yeah, it was great.
But exciting.
It was a lot, but I think it'll be worth it. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and we knew a lot more about them, so we were these teachers kind of find out what their needs were before they came in, which was really nice. And we kind of had eyes on them last year as well as they walked in the hallway. They'd be like, this one's coming, we're getting them ready. So
Helped with our day one placements,
Yes.
especially. We had Miss Marin and Miss City look over our day one placements, and they're like, oh no, like these two did not learn together well in preschool. Let's move them here. So it really helped for our first day. 'Cause
We
that first
wasted
day was still pretty
Yeah.
blind.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yeah, we wasted no time with that. So it's great. Thank you guys.
Good job. Yeah. Again, I can't say enough about the community embracing this idea and letting us try it. Everyone is so accustomed to being assigned a teacher to start the school year. So it's a little disconcerting for some of our return parents who didn't have that classroom teacher they were assigned to. But it really has allowed us to create classroom groupings that are going to be working well together in a variety of ways. So we think the outcome for our students is going to be really positive going forward. And that schedule that we had forever for working parents was a nightmare, to be having your kid go half a day and then the next day you didn't have, it was just too much. So I think that's a big improvement as well for our families. So thank you, ladies, for giving it your all and making it work. So I think that brings our presentation to a close. Any other questions for any of the staff that are here? Okay, we're probably going to let them have this be their exit. You're welcome to stay as long as you want, always welcome. But if you'd like to head out, this is a good chance.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Next up is our second reading of board policies. There was in your packet, there was an overview, and I linked all of the policies into that overview so you could take a look. This is sort of IASB's big, like, clean up the policies packet. So nothing of real significance here. They do review their policies every 5 years so that you never find yourself with a board policy that's ancient and maybe doesn't make sense anymore. So there's really not much here for the board to discuss, but I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have. Otherwise, I'd recommend you approve these updates to the policies. Questions? No? Okay. Lastly, the superintendent report, just a couple of things. We did not mention this, but since the last board meeting, we did have Meet the Teacher for first through fourth graders. It was the Friday before school started. We received a lot of positive feedback from the community that it was nice to be able to come into school and drop off school supplies, set eyes on the classroom and the teacher. So hopefully that helps students feel a little bit more calm going into the weekend before the first day of school, kind of knowing where they were going that first day. So I think that's something that we would definitely plan on continuing. Maybe some tweaks. Some people thought it was too short. They could have used more time. And so there's a few tweaks to it, but I think we're committed to continuing that in the future years because it was just so nice to see everybody reconnecting, and we had popsicles in the park afterwards, and it just had a really nice community feel to bring everybody back together and kind of get those jitters out before school officially started. So there's that. I also had the opportunity last Friday evening to tour the class of 1991. Fairview class of 1991. They were having their high school class reunion, and it was important to them to be able to come back to their elementary school as well. They were super blown away by all the changes. It was so cute because, wait, where's this? Where was Mr. Haley's room? Where? But it was great. I mean, a group of, just wonderful adults makes me feel so good that they still care about their elementary school and want to come back. Mr. Haley joined us, Mrs. Leinbach, who is she's taught a lot of grades at Fairview, but has been retired for a while. Mrs. Hammer, Joyce Hammer, was back, and Gail Zavardino is one of our EL teachers, formerly a French teacher for Fairview, taught French way back when. So it was just a wonderful night, but I think it's important for you all to know that there's just so much pride in this Fairview community and their school. And then finally, we're gearing up for our October Institute Day. We're going to be doing reading curriculum work and staff training, and we are also doing our CPR training. So all of our Fairview teachers are certified in CPR and AED, which isn't a requirement, but I think it's very important that we're prepared for any emergency might come our way, not only here at the school, but in our own personal lives. So that is something we provide to the staff, and I think it's appreciated that not only do we provide the training, but we allow them to do it during their work time. And it makes me feel very confident as a superintendent knowing that we have the tools to respond in a situation if we were presented with. So that's the highlights from my report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those. I believe we have 4 or 5. We're required to have an AED at any physical fitness facility. So there's one down in the gymnasium area. There's one in this new wing. There's one by the school nurse's office, and there's one on the 2nd floor. So I think 4. Is there one by the auditorium? Yeah, near the band room by the auditorium. Thank you. Yeah, because that's another large gathering place, and a lot of times members of the public are there. So if there was an emergency, it's close by. Any other? Good question. Any other questions? Okay, moving on.
Awesome. Next item is our board committees. NTDFC Jackie is not here today, but I don't know if there's any update Did anyone else?
Actually, that meeting is the same evening as this.
Oh.
It's tonight. We
Okay.
moved our meeting, so it became a conflict with NTDSE, so we don't have anyone at the meeting. They will send us out, their notes from the meeting, so we'll be able to catch up at a later time.
And then Christine, anything to add to PTA? Okay. We're moving on to Freedom of Information. Regarding Freedom of Information Act requests, I can report that there are no Freedom of Information Acts received since the last board meeting. And we do not have any submission for information items in correspondence. And before we go into public comment, I know I wasn't here at that last meeting, but I know there was a couple of questions pertaining to our community. So I'm just going to read a little brief statement in that. So in response to the public comment the board received during the August 20th regular meeting, I'd like to share the following sentiments with those of you present. Here at District 72, we deeply value the diversity of our community and are committed to ensuring that every student and family in our district feels safe, welcome, and supported. Within the district's board-adopted belief statements, the first statement reads, "A safe physical and emotional school environment advances learning and promotes respect for all." The district motto, "One Fairview," is intended to communicate the district's mission, vision, and belief in a manner that is understandable to all. We understand the concerns raised regarding recent changes to federal immigration enforcement policies. While we recognize the challenges these developments may have present for some members of our community, we want to assure you all that the district already has a strong measure in place to protect the safety, privacy, and dignity of all of our students and family, regardless of their immigration status. Our existing policies and practices are designed to uphold a safe and inclusive learning environment. These include clear protocols for interactions with outside agencies, strict guidelines regarding the sharing of student information, and a commitment to non-discrimination and equity for all. Our staff are trained to respond appropriately and compassionately to any situation that may cause fear or uncertainty among students and families. At this time, we believe that our current framework is effective in meeting the needs of our diverse community without an adoption of a formal resolution, and we remain committed to continuously evaluating and, if necessary, strengthening our practices in response to the evolving needs of our students and families. So, I don't-
And I, just a little bit of background. I have communicated with our neighboring school districts, those specifically in Niles Township. Those superintendents reported that in their districts, the 9 elementaries and the high school district 219, that they have not adopted a resolution. I think there might have been some confusion about that. But those schools that we're most closely affiliated with here in Niles Township share, similar board policies as we do, and feel that, actions sometimes speak louder than words, and that we're all working towards creating that safe environment for all students. So we just would want to mention that. The board policy 7:10, equal educational opportunities, I think, we believe is a very strong policy. And it does include in it that no student should be discriminated against, and we actually do include immigration status in that definition, which I think covers all of the pieces that we had heard from the public last month. So with that, I think we could just move on to public comment.
At this time, I'd like to invite members of the audience to address the board in public comment. This is a period designed to gain input from the public and not for immediate response by the board to the question or comment presented. If you wish to address the board, please come to the microphone and state your name. A 3-minute time limit will be set. The board secretary will keep time. Okay. And I can confirm that there were no public, online public comments received today. We are going to go to approval of action items. Can I get a motion and a second to adopt the fiscal year 2026 district budget?
I'll second.
Any questions before we confirm? No. Okay. Board secretary, can you please call roll call vote?
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Esther Tomuda?
Yes.
Hobart Whitworth?
Yes.
Christine Soika, yes.
All right, may I have a motion and a second to approve board policies as discussed?
A motion.
Second. Right. Okay, board secretary, can you please call a roll call vote?
Hobart Whitworth?
Yes.
Esther Tomuda?
Yes.
Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Christine Soika, yes.
And anyone have any items for future consideration for next month?
Yes, the eighth graders have been very vocal about their desire for an overnight field trip. That is something that I think requires further discussion amongst community, PTA, to determine, whether or not that is the best option, given, where we are in the moment. And we've had experiences with overnight trips that, here in the district, have proven very challenging for us. We do think that we do have a group of teachers that may be willing to chaperone a trip of sorts, but I think we need to have some further discussion internally about what that might look like. Whether it would be a partnership with the PTA or something the PTA would like to sponsor. These trips get very expensive, and I feel very strongly that all children have the opportunity to attend regardless of financial situation at home. So, we need to have a lot of conversation around that, and, figure out where, when, and if we really want to do it. There's just a lot to it. The eighth graders, every time I walk down the hallway, they are on me. The chirping of DC, DC, DC is like constantly playing through my brain. So I hear them. It is a cool experience to travel with your peers, and go away and do something like that. It just is something we have to give consideration carefully to. Mike and I have talked about it as well. So we can circle back on that, but it's a challenging conversation for me. So. Well, yes, yes. Well, they wondered if they should come to the board meeting tonight, and I said, I don't think that's a great idea. Yeah, they know who to talk to. The only other thing I would say, just for the sake of the fact that we're all together, it's concerning to me that some members of our community may feel that children aren't safe here. I take the safety of these children as if they're my very own. And I can say that every member of this team, whether it's the teaching team, the support staff, the nurses, the administrative team, we take that really seriously. And I hope that there isn't an assumption that because the board isn't adopting a resolution, that there's a safety issue here. Certainly, if there is, it's your responsibility as board members. If you hear something in the community, you have to let us know. I am not aware of law enforcement coming to campus. Not aware of any Fairview students being spoken to, but I don't know everything, and I don't know what's going on elsewhere. And I think that, these times are, uncertain for some people, and that causes fear. And so what we don't want is fear seeping into our school, when we do a lot of work to try to help families feel supported and children to feel safe in every way so that they can focus on learning here. So I feel a need just to say it and put it out there that, certainly it's all of our responsibility. If there's a family that's struggling for any reason, people have to let us know. We have resources. If we don't have the resources, Skokie does. North Cook was mentioned tonight. They have a lot of resources as well. So there's a lot of help, but if we don't know what the problem is, it's hard to help. But again, there's nothing more important to us than keeping these kids safe. And I think that we do a really good job of it. And hopefully, like I said earlier, our actions speak louder than words. We've been tested over the years, many a times. And I think this community has shown over and over again, it steps up. It helps people out. It helps families in need, whatever it might be. So, thank you for your ongoing support and trust, because we do really try our very best every single day. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn the regular meeting of the Fairview Board of Education? It is now 8:04 p.m. I'll second. And for the board secretary, please call a roll call vote.
Diana Diakakis?
Yes.
Raphael Kabor?
Yes.
Hobart Whitworth?
Yes.
Estera Tomuda? Christine Soika, yes.
All right, thank you, everybody.